Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. Um, Probably a lot of people don't know about this, but Uganda is about to have a presidential election. And I'm concerned about this for two main reasons. One, the current president, who has been there in power since 1986, is still running and he may or may not win. And the second thing that's bothering me about this is that they've shut down all social media ahead of the January 14th election. So, the current president of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, has been in power since 1986. The man has been there for, a generation, two generations even. And, he's not a complete dictator, but he's definitely an authoritarian. A lot of stuff does or doesn't happen in Uganda because of him and what he is or is not willing to tolerate. Because of that, like many authoritarians, he's one of the ones who doesn't seem to have fully understood social media and instead thinks that it's purely out there to try and take down his regime, and he hasn't seen ways in which to actually use that to his advantage. So instead, he's trying to silence the whole platform. Now, of course, this is very dangerous because they're right about to have a presidential election. And it's also not a good sign that the main opposition leader who's running to hopefully replace Museveni was arrested as he was giving a radio interview to a Kenyan radio station. His guards were beat up by soldiers and then they were all arrested on trumped up charges. So that's where we are in Uganda right now. And I get that, in the whole grand scheme of things, Uganda isn't really an important country. It's not on many people's radar. But if we claim to care about freedom and liberty and democracy and freedom of speech, then there's always somewhere around the world where we can advocate for that to become a reality for the people in that corner of the world. And right now, that corner is Uganda. Yoweri Museveni is not a good person and not a great leader. Many terrible and despicable things have been allowed to happen in Uganda under his government, such as, for example, among many injustices, pushing out of political opposition, intertribal warfare, and of course, the persecution, jailing, and usually outright, pogroms and murder against anyone in the LGBT community. It's not a good scene for a lot of progressive human rights values in Uganda, which is why other people were trying to challenge this. And in this election, they might very well win. And that's why Museveni is scared. He doesn't want to lose the power that he's had since the 80s. And hell, he's even showing up on TV to make addresses wearing a military jacket, as a reminder. So my thoughts and prayers, if you want to call it that, with the people of Uganda. But beyond just praying and hoping for a better turnout and for things to be good, I wanted to bring it to people's attention here so that they could then learn more about this. And then, maybe sign some petitions, contact your senators or your members of parliament or cabinet members who are responsible for, say, overseas departments. And, you could maybe call your representatives and talk about it because of the whole freedom of speech thing. Just a thought. But the fact that this news has gone completely under the radar when we should absolutely be trying to fight for freedom of speech and equality for all people around the world, whether they're in the West or in the global South. This is stuff that we should absolutely pay attention to and fight for. And the fact that we don't in general is definitely what's bothering me today.